Well, hello. Misters, as always, this is Kwangula Tilo Online, radio, podcast, and television. We hope that you guys are ready for us. We know it's been a minute. It's been a busy last 2 months. You know how it is with the new government and everything. But without further ado, allow me, as always, to introduce Mr. Vlad Tembe and Dr. Moses Tembe. I hope you guys are ready for this. Today we are celebrating 103 years of South African Communist Party. It's been over a century since its formation, but we are here so that they can go in depth, the inception, and also remember that today is the last day of Mandela month. What did you do during this month? We've been going at it, trying to educate everyone about the history of Mandela, from the music, his bio, and everything else that has to do with Mandela, from a local, national, Africa, and international overseas element, how people hear it from our gentlemen. You're welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Nati, for that introduction. Yes, it's been a minute, as he said, but today we are here with Dr. Tembe to discuss the anniversary of South African Communist Party, 103 years. Like he said, it's been a century. So now, since it's been a century, we're going to look into the formation of your Communist Party. Why was it formed? And also the ideologies that they are having, where they derive from somewhere, or did they have a caucus and seat? And also we're going to look at what accomplishments did the South African Communist Party have, and also what are they doing? Are they still on the right track with what the mandate was when it was formed? A brief history will be given by Dr. Tembe, and then we'll dive deep into discussing everything about the party.
Yeah, thanks very much. And also, it's we're rounding off Mandela month, and then tomorrow we're starting Women's Month, where we're going to discuss Queen Zinga of Angola. She was a fighter. Yeah, Mandela was born in the 1918, and then the Communist Party was formed in 1921 on the 30th of July. And then the meeting, it was called Communist Party of South Africa. The intention of Communist Party of South Africa, and also it was influenced by what happened in the former Soviet Union on this October revolution, Bolshevik revolution, in 1917, when they took over from the Tsar of Russia. And then it was formed by white people. It was a lily white party. The reason that I'm saying it was a lily white party, there was no black person. They were not recruiting black people. What the intention was to protect the interest of themselves, the working class from Britain. Most of them, they were from Britain. So they were protecting their own narrow interest, narrow working interest in South Africa. But in 1924, the party started recruiting Africans. So after they started recruiting Africans, and then the ideology was Marxist-Leninist, which the type of economic system, it's socialism, and then that will culminate into a communism, a classless society. So when we check, the first person to be a treasurer of the party was Andrews. And then we went, and also the secretary, I'll tell you who was the secretary, general secretary. And then, so after the formation of party, Communist Party, it was called Communist Party of South Africa, there was this public Republican thesis, this African Republic thesis, that the party started discussing the issue of Black Republic, that South Africa, it must be led by the working class, and then majority as blacks per se. So there was not good relationship between the African National Congress and the Communist Party of South Africa. Black people in as nationalist movement in the ANC, they suspected that the party is infiltrating in an African National Congress. So they wanted to deal away. When Jack Nelson Mandela also, he used to disrupt meetings of the South African Communist Party. And then, that time, the party was represented in Parliament. And then they organized the 1946 strike, workers' strike, where a lot of people were killed, and then the introduction of Suppression of Communism Act. So in almost 1950, on the 4th of May, the party liquidated itself. After liquidating itself, because they were afraid of Communism Act, Suppression of Communism Act. So after the passing of that law, the party dissolved itself, and they announced that there is no Communist Party of South Africa here in South Africa. It has disbanded. They were protecting the seats, 3 seats. The party had 3 seats in Parliament. And then after that, 1951, they passed a law that any person who associated himself with communism must be removed from Parliament. And then they removed them. And then the relationship with the ANC was not that good. I don't want to talk much about the 1930s.
I thought they formed a apartheid, this one, the ANC and the Communist Party. When they
Later.
Huh? Oh, okay. So
later.
They were not in good standings.
No, there was suspicion. Isn't it the problem of this Suppression of Communism Act? The ANC was a darling. It was a darling. Boers were comfortable. Isn't it? When we check here in South Africa, we have 2 types of colonialism: the Afrikaner colonialism and the English colonialism. First came these Boers on the 6th April 1652, and later came these English people, and then there was this Boer War, and then in early 90s, and the 1910 they formed Union of South Africa. So the ANC used to, ANC year 1912, they used to go to Britain to say, hey, we want equal rights, we want to vote, we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, so the Boers and the English were comfortable with the ANC.
Because they consulted them before any action was done.
Yeah, they were consulting that, hey, we want pass laws, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what happened is that they were suspicious that the ANC must remain pure. Their ideology is a nationalist ideology. They don't have problems. Boers also, they use the nationalism ideology, but this one came with communism. So they were afraid that if we don't pass these laws, these communists are going to dilute They are going to radicalize the African National Congress. So those laws were passed in order to protect the ANC. If you can check now, personally, I'm not surprised if ANC is it's a boyfriend or a girlfriend of DA. I'm not surprised because these nationalists, they were protecting the African National Congress. So the SACP was banned, Communist Party of South Africa was banned, and then in 1953, they had a conference somewhere in Jozi, and then they decided to change the name, to relaunch the name, the party, because the party used to work underground. They're specialists in terms of working underground, and then they called South African Communist Party of today. And then we had Moses Kotana. We'll hear Soli talking about these things later. We had Moses Kotana, Joslov was, and all these things. So in terms of the emergence of the South African, it was a congress of 17 people, national conference of 17 people, and then they agreed, one abstained, and then they organized your freedom charter. Is the party, these five, is the party who was behind the formation of the freedom charter, who had whites, colored Indians, and the workers in federation. So, and then from that they agreed, they formed, they adopted the freedom charter at Cape Town. And then the following year, in 1956, 8th January, the ANC made its own policy. A freedom charter. And then, but when you check a person who wrote that freedom charter is Bernstein. He and his wife, there were two who wrote those in a freedom charter. So that's why in the treason trial, year 1956, 156 people were arrested. And they were saying that this is a Communist Party document. But when you check, it's true. It is a Communist Party document. A person who drafted Mandela went there Nicodemously as if he was selling milk. He was disguising. So a person who wrote that in that freedom charter is a communist. So that's why they arrested these 156 people, and then for a treason trial. So, and then there was a formation of the PAC, saying that the ANC sold out. Because in 1956, when they have adopted this freedom charter, there was no an independent state, African state in Africa. So when you come to say this country belongs to all who live and working in it, black and white, where do you get these things?
It's from the handlers. It's from the handlers. And I heard you speaking about the Marxism and Leninism. Those were the core values or the guiding principle of the South African Communist Party. If we look at it from then up until now, and also compare to countries or states that are practicing your communism, socialism, and all of that, how far behind, or are we on par with some of those countries that are practicing this communism? If you look at it, you have Cuba, for example, you have your Venezuela, China, and all those other countries. So, and Russia is also.
After the fall of Berlin Wall, it went to a mixed economy, and then it became a capitalist communist country. But now Vladimir Putin now is reversing those imperialist gains. So that's why it's.
So looking at also speaking about that and also China, because on some few episodes we did back, you said China have 100-year plan, 200-year plans and everything. So was that something that the South African Communist Party was also trying to do to make sure they have a path that is going to guide us and achieve things and also bring back all of the things that were being stolen from us here in South Africa? Because on the last episode, you also spoke that you have a title deed, but you don't own what's underneath your house or your plot and everything.
Yeah, isn't it when we say Marxism and Leninism, we say our own Marxism and Leninism. We're not saying the Russian Marxism. It's a guide.
It's a guide. Okay.
So when we say our own Marxism, it means we need to adopt some good things from Marxism and Leninism and apply to our own material conditions. An ideology from the Soviet Union.
Yeah, because the material conditions
they are not the same.
Yeah.
So here in South Africa, the type of struggle, I said we had two colonialists, the British and the Afrikaner, and they ganged together against black people. In 1910, they say African Union or whatever, Union of South Africa. So they get so the material conditions of here in South Africa is not the same as in Russia. In Russia, in former Soviet Union, they never knew unemployment. Yeah, during socialism, they never knew poverty.
How? Everyone was working. Or what
Everyone was working, and then everything was fine. So this Gorbachev, they came with a glasnost, and the Boris Yeltsin, they imported this thing, capitalism, and then they implemented microeconomic policies, mixed economy, and then from there they were a darling of the West. So came Vladimir Putin, the NATO tried to appear intelligent, and then they encroached Ukraine. So what is happening in Ukraine is that the Russians, they are defending. It's a special operation. They're defending the Russians because the majority of Russians in Ukraine, they speak Russian. They are Russians. They see themselves as Russians. And also, when the Trevor Noah, the comedian, this is Zelensky, they banned Russian from schools. They eradicated the language Russians. They introduced their own, and then they wanted to take Ukraine to NATO. So there was a cultural massacre in quotes in Ukraine. So it's a special operations what Vladimir Putin is doing. So, but let us come back home. It was agreed the formation of the Freedom Charter. So in the 1960s, this nationalist party, they won elections in 1948, and then they declared they wanted to declare independence from Britain. The 31st March. So the PAC was opportunistic. On the 21st of March, they marched Asibukeng, and then these young boys, they shot 69 people. And then they declared the first state of emergency in 1961. And then they banned all organizations. So the party had a meeting of 21 national conference of 25 people, And then in that meeting, Mandela was an observer. There were 25. And then Mandela was an observer where they decided to form Umkhonto, which is the South African Communist Party who decided to form Umkhonto Wesizwe.
So that's hence the regalia of Communist Party is camouflage most of the time. If you look at people that are who were in the Communist Party, or Chris Han, if you look, the inner regalia of this thing, your military regalia. So now it shows good they also formed your MK, but wasn't the MK and the military wing of the ANC?
It's a distorted history. This MK was formed because, isn't it to say there's a time in a nation that you need to submit or fight.
Yes.
So they, in that particular meeting, there were only 25. Sisulu and Mandela were observers. You see, if you're an observer, you say it's nothing.
To observe.
So the MK was formed as a military wing, independent military wing run by the SACP and ANC. It was not the military wing of the ANC. That's why they took time to announce that MK is now a military wing. When it was formed, they didn't agree in violence. Ziniti Lutuli was the first person here in South Africa to get the Nobel Peace Prize. So you couldn't agree. They adopted Gandhism, the Gandhi style, this passive resistance. So when they needed to radicalize the African National Congress, and then Mandela was there as the commander-in-chief, because we're saying that what we call the black leadership or African leadership, it was a situation where you cannot allow a leader, a white person, to lead the revolution. That's why there was this problem. Your stay away May 1st, that the Communist Party called May 1st to stay away. And then the Youth League of the ANC was angry, telling people don't stay away, go to work, because they thought that they will take over, they will radicalize the African National Congress. So you see, the Boers were indirectly, they were protecting the African National Congress from communist ideology.
But now with everything that we know now and all the information that is there, I know now you're saying some of the information is diluted. Like for me now, I have always thought the MK was a military wing of
it was assimilated to the African National Congress as a military wing. But the genesis of the MK, it was not a military wing of the ANC, or it was a military wing that of the party. That's why the first people to go for training, they went to China. They went to China, and some they went to the Soviet Union. So when you check Lily's farm, where was they were captured. That money, the party, the Soviet party, was funding SACP, and SACP was funding ANC. They used to get 30,000 pounds a month. That 30,000 pounds a month, it was used to buy Lily's farm. So that's why they think they were protecting African National Congress. So if maybe there was no Communist Party in South Africa, it means things would be different now. Would be something like a stupid imperialist country.
So now, like I was saying, with all this now that is being known and information is there for anyone to absorb, how is it now that the Communist Party has lost its stronghold with everything that we know now? And looking at most of the ANC Youth League, they were taught, they had political schools or what, but they were taught by members of the South African Communist Party. So now, how is it that they lost their stronghold on the politics and are no longer kingmakers in a way?
Isn't it the problem now? The ANC moved away. You see, ANC is a contested terrain ideology. We used to say it's a broader church, referring to the ANC, that a rat, a cat, a witch, tortoise, they can join ANC. So it became a broader church. So if it's a broader church, it is contested ideologically. It is contested ideologically. That's why the ANC couldn't join with MP and the EFF. Because as the party, we failed to influence the leadership of the ANC to serve the interests of the working class. So now they're serving the interests of Amabujwa. So
Isn't it why? Okay, I hear you're saying it's a terrain of contested ideologies, the ideology and everything. The ANC stands for something. Why isn't it that when everyone comes into that office of power, they follow what is there inside? Oh, the ANC is going to serve the people, what, and all of that.
It's a propaganda.
Can they be trained or channeled? Everyone, you must come and serve. Come and serve. Do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Instead of having all these people that are being parachuted into parties.
Another we've got what we call a base.
Yes.
And the superstructure. So the ANC failed to capture a base. And then the ANC was co-opted like a superstructure as managers of state, not as leaders of the state, as managers. If you want to capture the influence, your base, it determines the ideology of the superstructure. So here in South Africa, we never captured superstructure. And then na base, we were just co-opted, and then were co-opted and became CEOs and managers of capital and nothing,
but not
nothing. And then we shifted from the left, like a political spectrum, to the right. So the ANC is on the right with the DAs of this world. So you cannot say, well, now you are going to go to the state and then you're going to transform the state. You can't, because base never captured the base. So the Communist Party, it's gonna what we call National Democratic Revolution, NDR.
Yes.
So NDR, it's a way to socialism. So Kubena off-ramp. So off-ramp, we off-ramped to neoliberalism. And then that particular neoliberalism, there is no way back. It's only one way forward. It is not easy to escape here.
Because we might suffer sanctions.
But sanctions are good. South Africa survived because of sanctions. We've got a denial. We've got your Sasol. It is because of sanctions. Let us check, for example, in Russia.
Yes.
After there were a lot of sanctions, but when they opened up, they found that Russia it's a continent on its own. It can survive with or without. They've got everything on planet Earth. So sanctions sometimes are good. Isn't it now they're saying, they're begging, hey, America must not remove us from AGOA AGOA agreement, it's nonsense. Let them remove and then we become independent. Isn't it? When they remove you from AGOA, you'll have your own food sovereignty and food security. And then you are going to minimize poverty because you'll be creative and innovative. You've got Blade, Younger Minister of Innovation. So maybe you'll be energized to be innovative enough. So that's how things are.
But looking at what you're saying, at the triangle now, the base and also the superstructure. Now the base is at the bottom and it looks like it has a lot of people. It's a majority in a way.
The base is where means of production are. Where you talk about your land, your minerals, your everything that is underneath in the soil.
So
So this base, because here in South Africa, immediately after political breakthrough, we had a lot of charismatic churches. People now are being vomiting the frogs and snakes. A lot of church, each and every corner there is a church. They save the interest of the base. Isn't it? There are two contending classes: capitalists and the peasants. So some of these black people, they're being captured and parachuted into the superstructure to run the interest of the base. It's nothing. Some of the black faces, some of these the so-called leaders, they are here. They're being captured from
the base.
From the base, like one at the peasant. Like we are saying this. In each and every existing society, there's a class struggle.
Yes.
So this class struggle, it produces unmandated government. This unmandated government, it says to regulate the relationship between the working class and the Nama Capital, and then your superstructure. Their main interest is to protect Nama Capital. That's how it is. It's not to protect the working class.
So now it's going to be difficult to have a classless society.
If you capture a base, it is possible to have a classless society.
No, capturing the base, does it mean issue of nationalizing all the means of production? Does it
No. I need socialism. It's an economic system where the state manages the interests of the working class on behalf of the working class. Where, for example, let us check Ethiopia. Private schools in Ethiopia are closing because they can give quality education. People, they don't see any need of taking a child to a private school, whereas the state can give. So if you capture a base, it means you're going to give equality services, service deliver. But without a base, you can't. I know we had Soli saying that your Mutsipe, a multi-billionaire, it cannot transform a single village. It can't change a single village with its multi-billions. It can't change a single village. But Oppenheimer, he can change a country. So now this one, it's a phase. Say now we've got a few black capitalists.
Yes.
But that particular capitalist can't change anything, even where he lives or in his own yard. You can't change anything. You can just build a double story to be seen that I've got money. Then you have your own double story. So that's a problem of not capturing a base. We have a romantic superstructure, which is full of churches. You can't control your education. You can't do anything in terms of health. You can't do fuck all. But you can't even close a pothole because this base, Nama Capitaliana, They're holding trillions and trillions of US dollars from South Africa. Johannesburg Stock Exchange and the London Stock Exchange. That's all. You can't do anything. You make noise, you are removed. So that's a problem. So you find, so in 1960s, it's where we get to Mandela to be co-opted in that meeting that they formed EMK as the party. It's where they co-opted Mandela to be a member of the Central Committee of the party. But during the Rivonia trial, isn't it Boas they were protecting the ANC?
Yes.
So Mandela said, yeah, I'm not a member of the ANC. Yeah, I never joined the Communist Party. I never joined the Communist Party and all these things. So Mandela, at the time he went outside, it was 62 to African states were shocked because the only country that was independent was Ghana. Okay. Nabo, your Tanzania, your Zambia, so they were shocked that but these people, they're sleeping with white people. They're fighting white people, but they are romantically involved with white people. So that's why ANC, it had problems when it went outside. The PAC was popular because they were pushing in Pan-Africanism. So when you go out there, you are saying that you don't see nothing wrong with a white person, whereas the white person is presumed to be a colonialist. So that's why ANC, it took some years to become acceptable in Africa. So Mandela went out and trained Ethiopia and Sudan. They gave him military training. And then he came back. They called him Black Pimpernel. And then he was arrested by a single person, CIA. One person arrested him.
With all his military training.
They arrested him.
But that arrest, wasn't it a way of just capturing him to go and train him so that they can be able to utilize him once the term was correct?
Another 16th of December, they started in a bombing to launch MK. So some people went outside to train military because isn't it the language of violence is the only language that the boys understood.
Yes.
So they arrested him, gave him 5 years for moving outside the country without a passport. And then when they arrested Ali's farm, and then they called him, and then they discovered some documents, and then they gave him that life sentence where there's this famous statement that if needs be, I'm prepared to die. So he stayed at Robben Island. Again, he stayed there for 18 years. Because they were now saying that they need to negotiate. They removed him from Govenberg, that this one, we must protect, this one will be leader of South Africa. We can live with this one. So they removed him to Portsmouth, Kaka a mansion. So he stayed there, used to meet Bota, Man, 1985. They were saying that he must renounce violence. And then they tried his daughter. And then read that Jablan Amphitheater that my father said, I can't negotiate as a prisoner, I must be free and all these things. And then there was this Washington consensus where some of these leaders still alive, they discussed how to Now, post-apartheid. They planned post-apartheid in 1985 with some leaders that are there leading Washington, that we call Washington Consensus. So, and then when about 1976, ANC distanced itself from 1976.
Now they're busy piggyback riding the wave. Yeah, these kids.
Yeah, it was black consciousness. They were saying that today ANC can't do this and what. So it was, but it was an easy victory. And then there was a formation of UDF and the student movement. Then Mandela was still in prison. He wrote a book. We're playing that book, No Easy Walk to Freedom. A lot of nice stories. And then he came out. And then the party was there. The party was popular. To join the party, it was not like in China. In China, there is probation of minimum 5 years. They come and conduct your lifestyle, whether you live like a communist person or not. So that time when the party was unbanned, we used to join the party to run. There was no checking, there was nothing. It was just a mass party. So we debated until we agreed that it cannot be a mass party, it must be a mass-based party, which is almost means the same thing. Hey, so the party, some of us were saying that we said, let us contest a state power, state popular power, not the state power, a state popular power, but were defeated. And then some of us who've got a big chunk of bones in our mouth. So that's a problem, because the party now, some members of the party, they are now neoliberals. Hey, they've been swallowed by these blue lights. That's a danger of a blue light. Because in a blue light, you wear red color, but a blue light, even a robot is red. You pass because you are using a blue light. So now we're under a regime of blue light. That's why now we're having 32 ministers and 43 deputy ministers. And so a blue light is it's something great. I wish I can buy one and put Comfort Ranger.
So now it looks, in my explanation, I'm going to say it looks like now we've shifted far away from all of what Communist Party was standing for. Now.
Yeah,
But
we shifted a lot. We started shifting towards the center during the period after the death of Comrade Joe Slovo. And then, Joe Slovo, and then came Chris Hani, and then after Chris Hani, we had Charles Nakula. It gravitated towards the ANC. It was a favorite here in Charles Nakula. It was a favorite at Thabo Mbeki. So anything that the party was running, Matomunyana from Thabo Mbeki's. So we managed to remove Charles Nakula, and then we put Blade. Became West. So the party now, they lost 50% of their membership.
But now
We had almost 500 plus thousand, but now we're somewhere at 100,000.
So now, is it fitting to celebrate 136 years of this party.
Yeah. Isn't it now we're having Comrade Sol Mapaila? So Comrade Sol Mapaila, I think he has undergone or is undergoing a metamorphosis that he needs to take party back to the red color. We need to capture a red color. We need food security. We need implementation of NHI. So the party must reinvent itself, because it was an embarrassment that for the first time in the history of the party, from 1921, and then a person contest position in the Central Committee. Don't contest position for the first time in the history of the South African Communist Party. Contesting elections. The first time in the history of communist parties of the world, a person contests position. It's an embarrassment.
Yeah.
But people, they've got democratic right. When you join the ANC, maybe there's an ANC infection. So we're saying that there's an ANC infection in the party. So Comrade Solma Parma must disinfect the party. That becomes the correct party. We're saying better fewer, but better. Yeah, that's the party that we want. Not a contagious party. Huh? A sick party.
But the task in hand, it's a difficult one.
Yeah, it is difficult. It's no easy walk to freedom, but there's no easy walk to. But slowly, I feel pity for him. He's got a Kilimanjaro task to reinvent the party, because the party now, we use the party to climb the ladder to the position in the ANC. We go to the ANC, we become mayors, we become what, and then we forget the party. Hey, it's not romantic to lead the party, because there are no tenders in the party. There are no tenders. So if you think you can lead the party, you think you're going to get a tender, you are a dreamer. That's how it is. So after the collapse here in the Soviet, the so-called codessas, and then your sunset clauses, wherein we sold out. The struggle, but the sunset clauses, we are saying sunset, but there's Washington consensus before the sunset clauses. There's Washington consensus.
I want to come back to the Washington consensus. You said they met in 1985, planning for post-apartheid.
And isn't it Roma Capital, they can plan for 100 years?
I wanted to come back to, did we plan for post-apartheid, or we're just starting off, let us fight we liberate our people, but we didn't have an action plan moving forward?
No, the party had an action plan, path to power from 1962. But here, isn't it, I said that there's a contestation of ideology. And then ideology, you check your school. You must start from a school, from grade R to whatever level. A learner must be ideologically correct. So what we have done, you see these boys, sometimes I like them, because they planned to what can I say, to make us inferior. You check Bantu Education Act of 1953. Even today, it is still working. We're learning about frogs.
Locusts.
We're looking about locusts, 5 compound eyes. thorax, in the head. What's wrong? Nothing here. Oh, bad idea. You don't need to study a locus. What for? It is still working. So we've got what we call fear of the unknown. You cannot be innovative. I just feel pity also for Blade, Minister of Innovation. What is he going to do? Here in South Africa, even importing a toothpick. We don't have a factory an ordinary toothpick. Dinel, here is Dinel. They can manufacture, we can build South African cars. But Dinel is building military car, but ourselves, just to have a reasonable price. You'll find a leader, here Communist Party or here South Africa, driving a Mercedes-Benz. It means you take money from here to Germany, your own oppressors. But you've got capacity yourselves. Now because there is this, you see what is happening, this gangster of national unity. It is because South Africa was drifting to BRICS.
Yes.
So if it was drifting to BRICS, they planned these things. Because people who vote are not people who decide who rules, who comes to power. Those who decide, those who count the votes. The rest, because they started discussing this 2-3 years ago. That the ANC, that it appears that we're going to lose power. And then if we lose power, they went to study Angela Merkel's. They went to study Canada. They went to study Israel and other countries, how to run a government of national unity. And then this racist, what their Megar Alliance, they formed a moonshot pact to topple the ANC. You check all these Mickey Mouse parties, who was funding them? When Nelson Mandela in 1962 tried to organize a convention wherein people, communist parties, communist members were banned from attending meetings, and now that the black person cannot join a union. He went to Oppenheimer, Mandela in 1962 to seek funds to have that, to organize that convention. Oppenheimer refused. Said, we want to talk what here? So when you check these parties, who formed them, who funded them, they spent millions to topple the ANC. And they say 11 million people didn't vote. But they went and then register. You can't go then register and then you don't vote. So it will below 40, around 40, and then got to 40%, 42%. And then those who were conducting, but so what, to check the outcome of elections. They were DA members. They were drilling people that they prepared us to accept the government of national unity. And you'll find the so-called leadership. They will say, hey, people mandated us that we must co-govern. There is no shit.
If it was like that, we shouldn't have voted.
And govern. Isn't it before pre-election we said there must be a convention where we will decide
exactly
how are we going to run this country. So now, which convention did you go? Say, who told you? Because there were 3 ballot papers.
The people have spoken.
The people have spoken. They are saying that you must co-govern. And then you've got parties on the left. And then on the left, you've got your EFF, you've got this confused MK list. And then you form 2/3 majority, but you prefer to go and join Helen Zero, Diermekar Alliance, and then you DA na veto power. ANC can't take decisions, and then DA. So we've got a de facto president, Helen Zero, in South Africa. It's a de facto president. But isn't it you can't take decisions?
Yeah.
Hey, we're led by de facto leaders. We're not led by leadership. These are de facto leaders for Helen Zero. If Helen Zero doesn't like you, and then you'll be out, and then you see that's how it is.
Yeah. I'm shocked. I'm still shocked now why those three parties didn't come together. And form.
But who are the handlers?
I think they're handled by the same people.
They bend your national flag, and then you go and say, no, we can't govern. Raising the same national flag that DA bent. Huh? And with racists, those who to paint themselves black. Huh? Saying that, hey, black, what, should demonstrate, but now they are your leaders. Bandits, criminals, the ministers of sports now, and their base is colored. They'll tell you exactly that our base is colored, and then base EFF is black and poor. Base Misholos, it's black, and then you why can't you form? Because if you join them, you get to 70%, and then this side, people were trained in Caprivi to kill ANC members. But your Inkata, it's your friend now. Whether you say they are not permanent enemies, but those one remains permanent. People who went to Matola and killed people who killed were Christian. So much pattern, they were part and parcel of killing Christian. But you are with them. You see, the people of South Africa has spoken. Let us co-govern. Who told you? You see, people, they think they've got visions, but I suspect these are not visions. It's just an illusion. Because if you say people mandated us to co-govern, it means it's an illusion. It's only yourself who see those things. Yeah, in your dreams, that you just hear voices. Voices that go and co-govern, and then you wake up, people are saying that you must co-govern. That's nonsense. You see, that's my problem. So that why will Chris Hani feel? More people were killed. Massacres and massacres. Zimbabwe. They died until before I never signed a committee accord. How many people were killed in Mozambique? Even today, the landmines are still being killing. Mines from apartheid regime, mines from, because DA is a formation of National Party and the ultra right wing. And then they formed these things, the so-called Diermekar Alliance. And then people are still being killed. But whether you are co-governing, you were in solidarity in Palestine. In your speech in Parliament, you can't talk anything about Palestine. You can't talk anything about Eritrea. Eritrea is a socialist state. After Ethiopia, Eritrea, where this bandit bastard was running to. Hey, so but you co-govern. The party Joe Slovo, he pushed the issue of housing. The RDPs. We had this comrade, man, Arwa Kosato, that was minister without portfolio in the presidency. Hey, man, I forgot. Your Joe Slovo pushed the issue, your housing, your RDP program. Where is your RDP program? We changed RDP program into GIA and ASGISA. And your liberal tendencies. So you wonder. You start to wonder, hey, Zishanan. The issue of land, for example. I think a toilet inside the house. It's a problem because it alienates you from the land. You must go and obey you'll see land there, not a toilet. Go to the toilet, go outside, oh, today I discharged here, tomorrow I'll discharge there. Women decide. You see, that's the role of the land. But, so we have been indoctrinated that we forgot about the land. We like to stay in suburbs, got the estate. I'm saying the estate, hey, the security state. When you arrive there, you need a code to go in. It's a land of somebody else.
Like that one at the waterfall. You build your houses, but you don't own it. They've rented that place out for 100 years, if I'm not mistaken. I just forgot the name of that family. It's the Indian family, if I'm not mistaken. So if you buy a house for 10 million, it's not yours.
It's not yours. But how do you stay in an estate? You are happy that, hey, when I go in there, there's a remote control, and the security, I'm paying so much. Huh? That's a toilet mentality. A toilet mentality. Don't need none. If I can lead this country, I'll ban all the toilets. I'll close all the toilets. People must go and get land. So that's why we were so confused. And then Mandela is stayed for 27 years in jail, white for. Your Walter Sisulu, your Lawrence Pokanoka, your people who fought one peace political campaign, your General Ike Comrade General Ike, he was arrested and incarcerated in La Arodeshila, and then he was released when Mugabe took over. And then after being released, no one went to fetch him from prison, from death row, from the ANC. No one. Chris Hani memorandum. When he was released in Botswana, nobody briefed him anything, was even fired from the ANC. Dug his own grave. That's why when in 1969, a Morogoro conference, where O.R. Tambo resigned from the ANC. And the woman is Mabida. And then they went and talked to him not to resign. So people died in malaria, Akongwa, in Tanzania. Malaria. And in Congo, it's about 500 kilometers from Dar es Salaam. They died of malaria. Their bones are still there. They can't be repatriated to South Africa. The agreement in Codesa, it was said that you cannot bring those bones back because they're going to create emotions. So, from here, to La, Mozambique, it's almost 500 kilometers. There's a graveyard, Root Fest. There was a Root Fest memorial here in South Africa. There's these Matola guys, these cadres, they are still there today. But what I like about government of Mozambique, they clean those graves.
Yes, I know they do.
Yeah, they go there and clean. Yeah, it's very clean. I think they are better there. Because you do have a Euros Ekada. Like Mozambique, where leaders who your Gungunyani, your Mondlani, your Samora Machel, your Josina, where they are buried in one place.
No, it's not.
No, we don't. In Zimbabwe, they do have. But Mugabe refused to be buried. The wife of Mugabe refused this, and then this Benoni girl.
Yes.
Refused. But Maurice Yagumbu and others that were buried there. So you see. So it means I don't know whether have we ever had a revolution in South Africa. I'm trying to check whether we did have or before we were saying this is a national democratic struggle, NDS, and then we graduated to NDR, National Democratic Revolution.
But was there?
But I'm sure we're still in a struggle. Whether it's an economic struggle or acceptance struggle, but there's no revolution here. I don't see any revolution in Mandela.
The problem is now people are guided by their stomachs.
And then we say it's a national. Do you have, can you address a nation question? Did you manage to address a nation question in South Africa? When I see this one, I see this one as a white person, this one as a black person, that one is a colored, that one is a... We are not yet there to address the issue here, a nation question. When we talk about that democratic, is it South Africa democratic? It is not, because the means of production still belongs to the hands of the few. So how isn't it when you say it's a democratic, must democratize the means of productions? The means of productions are not democratized. So which revolution can fight a silent revolution? I never seen a silent revolution. That ours is silent revolution. We are going to fight silently. We are going to conduct our revolution silently. So this is a dilemma that we are in. So that's why I'm saying, because even COSATU is bleeding, hemorrhaging, COSATU, the PAT, the ANC. If ANC can, how are we going to contest the elections in 2026? Local government elections.
Since it's a GNU now. Because any development, anything, they won't say with the ANC, there's the DA did 1, 2, 3. They say no, the government of national unity did 1, 2, 3, 4.
So it means the ANC made the mistake of having in a community of property, marriage. We're in a community of property.
Yeah, in community of property.
Yeah, in community of property marriage. Your racism, it's my racism. The DA in an antenuptial contract. Your racism is my racism, but my wealth is not your wealth. That's why ANC missed the boat. If it's a government of national unity, let us do the same. Kubana Kubana social in base la Kubana socialization of means of production. Isn't it the government of national unity? So let us socialize means of production. This means of production must belong to the people. And then we are governing together. So if we are governing together, in community of property, when I cook, we eat together, but when you cook, I don't eat. You eat alone. There's no, in South Africa, there's no crisis. Government of national unity is formed when there's a crisis. Yes. It was better in 1994 because we're transiting from apartheid to the so-called political breakthrough or freedom. But now we're transiting from what? We're transiting from our own NDR to neoliberalism. So that's a crisis because we've ditched our own identity, and then now we've become the mulattoes of a revolution. You can't become a mulatto in a revolution. Assimilado. You assimilate to neoliberalism. From socialism to that's assimilation. You behave. It's a mulatto revolution. What you are having. A mulatto, a colored revolution. Yeah. That's what it is. So Mandela, they tried their level best, and then that's that. We are here because of their efforts. Even those who died, were here whether we betrayed them or not. But my prayer is that let us the ANC reinvent itself. But I don't know how are they going to, but they need to divorce DA to reinvent itself and rejuvenate, and then start to win it trust, Kamas, because we have lost the trust. It is no longer fashionable to wear an ANC t-shirt. You must wear an ANC t-shirt at the front, at the back, DA t-shirt. We need Helen Zero and Namara Pos at the t-shirts. Isn't it were innovative? Yeah. Helen Zero and
because now they say it's DANC now.
It's a DANC. DANC. Dank. So that's what it is. So suppose about dank. So it means dank. So boys are saying, hey, thank you very much, dank. You donated to a revolution. Dank.
So on the silver plate.
Yeah, the silver plate. That question, so that's what it is. So the party, maybe party like now they're trying to reinvent itself, and then they're trying to metamorphosis to move from the yoke, capitalism, from the cocoon of capitalism, because there is no single person who owns the party. You cannot own the party, blue light. You've got the blue light and then you think you own the party. It is not. So let us, wherever we are, because to organize for a party, it's simple. You need 7 people to form an interim structure and 25 people to launch a branch. Better, fewer, but better. Conduct your own political education. Because without political education, what next? You don't own a media, you don't own a newspaper, you don't own a means of production, you don't have capital, nothing, fuck all. Even ideology or have, So people must reinvent themselves. Like capitalism, they've got self and they self-resuscitate. And capitalism is like a soul. Where there is pain, they move out. It's like where there is mining, if there is no longer gold, they move out. And then the communities, let us check Palabura. The communities there now, they eat grass because they're pulling out. Your energy, what they're pulling out. So where conditions are not favorable, because here they're complaining in terms of labor laws.
Okay.
So now, again, I cannot advise a person to build a house for rental. If you build a house for rental, if tomorrow that particular person has been retrenched, you cannot remove him from that, because if you remove him, you must give him an alternative accommodation. That one. Those are the laws. So, not personal. So if we democratize these things, let us check. Go to agriculture, go to build schools, hospitals, farms, and then people shall eat. People must eat, and people must work. You can't go to court. If you say you now are fighting, you need to fight for a right to work. It means I can go to court now and say, Mina, I'm not employed, I've got a right to work. And then I can report Akensan as a whatever, whether it's a clean or as a doctor, because I've got a right to work. No, it can't work. Let us be innovative. And then, but man. Wake up and do for your own things. There's a lot of land. Like state land is too much. Absentee landlords, land, it's too much. I'm not saying that we must go and occupy, but let us be innovative. And then it was a people like Devil's Kloof land. It's a bush. So let us try to, in honor of those who died, let us do that. I think go happy 103 anniversary at SACP, and then wish that they will resuscitate themselves, and then that membership bloodbath comes back. That's what, and then be independent communist party, not something else that we don't know. All right.
No, I like still wanna go back to that part like the Kilimanjaro climbing, the task in hand. So
Kilimanjaro.
I don't know, kuba kota ku fika le henhla le. The party itself, since it's renovating itself, or it's going through a metamorphosis, the type of support that they're going to need in order to get up there from the people, so that we know as what is it that we must do to support, to be able to have a communist party that we're all proud of.
I said that Ama Capital, they've got a self-resuscitating built in.
So that's something that also needs to be embedded into the party that we...
Self-resuscitation. That's what is needed. There's a fertile ground in South Africa that the party can take power. We call it state popular power. We've got the ignored peasantry class, not working class. Because if you are no longer working today, you cease to be, you become a peasant. How many jobs were lost? Now we're going to lose 150,000 from yet petrol attendants. 150,000 yet petrol attendants, they will be unemployed from next month. So because if we ignore the unemployed, these peasants, and everybody, but an idle mind, it's a devil's playground. Hey, you see people from Libya, they were training Lampumalanga. We don't have security, we don't have focal, nothing. They were exposed because the person who recruited them, he left them. So they were hungry, they were selling blankets and to buy food. So that becomes a problem. So when the problem of ours here, we took the struggle to the cities. The real struggle is here in rural areas, it's not in the city. Because that class here vacillator in towns, they vacillate. They don't even vote. So here they queue and vote. So the party must move out from the seat. I don't, because now Joburg it ruins. Joburg is a ruin now. So what do you want in a ruin? People are here. You check the most, now isn't it in South Africa, were 63 million after discount.
Oh, okay.
The number increased, but the party number 50% down. So we need to re-strategize, go back to the roots. We must emulate Mao Zedong, Chairman Mao. He never fought his revolution, his struggles in the cities. He was with the peasants, a long walk, a long march, until he defeated Jenkins Khan. So it was a long march with peasants, because you need to create peasants as your own bush. So in towns, what do you want in towns? Nothing. So that the Kilimanjaro type of a struggle, it must not be fought in towns, because people are being retrenched and coming back home. So that's what needs to be done.
Yeah, no. Thank you.
So I think we have done justice. So if there are questions, no questions. Okay. So I think you played that one as well.
It's on.
It's on.
It's on.
Okay. Não, muito obrigado.
Thank you. E on kayo. On kayo.
Thank you.